My name is Olivia Adegoke. I am the CEO of Salt and Pepper Catering Services Nigeria. We specialize in outdoor catering. We also do corporate lunches. We specialize in small chops, grills, and mainstream catering for everybody. I don't think I had a defining moment per se. All I know is that as a little girl, I was always fascinated with watching cooking shows and videos around, kitchen, cooking, cutting. I was always fascinated by those things. So I knew at some point in time in my life, I was going to find myself doing something around food. But Salt and Pepper started off just with a conversation with my co-founder. She has jackpot now. She has left me here in Nigeria, but it's fine. We just sat down, had a conversation about food. Her specialty is more into baking, and I, on the other hand, will literally sit down, watch shows, cooking shows, grab my pen and paper, jot everything down, get into a store, buy everything, and then come back and recreate. Backstory. We both schooled in Canada, and at some point in time, we actually lived together. And it's funny because even then, during uni days, we would literally sit down, have our grocery list, what we're going to buy from the grocery store, get excited, buy different things, and then, obviously, we create magic in the kitchen. So I would say there wasn't a defining moment, but I would say it was like an evolving feeling, something that we had been talking about for a while. And Salt and Pepper came to life August 2018. When starting out, trust me, I had a lot of fears, I had a lot of doubts, I was anxious. First of all, I think the biggest thing for me was the fact that I never went to culinary school or had a degree in cooking or food or anything. That first of all freaked me out, because I'm like, okay, I have this idea in my head, I haven't gone to school for it, and I felt the nudge to start now with no experience. So that was one fear I had. The second one was, would our business even survive its first year? Like, would people patronize our business? Would we be recognized? Would we even sell? So those were some of our fears. And I remember when we started actually taking orders, and dispatch riders would come pick up the items and take them out. I would literally, while I'm making the food, I'm fine, I'm happy, I'm enjoying the entire experience. But the second the dispatch rider leaves, I begin to panic, because different things start popping up in my head. Would my clients like the food? Would they like what they taste? Would they say the salt is too much, or they are cutting through the chicken and they are seeing blood? Those things. So I hated client feedback. I would rather you order your food, eat your food, and don't call me back. But the good thing is, I started off by selling to my friends and my family. And the so-called feedback I was running away from ended up being one of our biggest, will I say, helpers in the business, because they were able to give me, constructive feedback on what was good, what was bad, what we needed to adjust in our menus and stuff. And yeah, I think that's just some of it. I think it would have to be our first experience at the GTCO Food and Drink. Barely 3 years into the business, still trying to be recognized, trying to sell our market, trying to get our name out there. And then my family friend, approaches me and is like, you know what, because they call me Keke, and she's like, Keke, apply for GTCO Food and Drink. And I was extremely reluctant, because the year before we had applied and we didn't get in. So reluctantly, I applied, and I remember the day we got the approval email. Like, I had like different forms of butterflies in my tummy. I was excited. I started having doubts. I was happy. I was anxious. All these feelings were wrapped in one. I remember a few days leading up to the event, I couldn't sleep, because I'm like, this is our first experience. This is the first time we're having this large number of people try our food. The feedback, would they enjoy it? Would they like it? And the fact that they were going to be like professional chefs on ground. I think that made it even worse. But I just want to chip this in there. It's always good to have an amazing team. I think God has blessed me over the years with amazing people who don't just see me as their boss, they see me as their family, and they carry my vision. These guys were the ones that carried me through the 3-day GTCO food and drink event. They were literally on their feet, not sleeping for 3 days, prepping, ensuring that Salt and Pepper put their best foot forward. But I think for me, the defining moment was when Chef Miyonse was doing his rounds with a couple of other professional chefs, and they were sampling different tastes from different food vendors, and they came to our stand. I remember my head as they were passing, I was like, don't come here, don't come here. But lo and behold, they came to our stand, and I remember he tried out our red jollof and our sweet chili turkey, and when he rated us the best turkey for the event, in fact, I think for me that was the yes sign. I was looking forward to know that yes, I'm doing the right thing and I'm in the right business. So yeah, I think that was one major defining. There are a few others, but that was, I think, the first big one for me. So personally, I feel that quality and consistency is the backbone of any successful food business, And while doing that, we also have to look at creating a high standard and giving our customer the best value. And with us at Salt and Pepper, we do this is a mix of different things. First, I would say our standardized recipes. During COVID, obviously, everybody was home, not doing anything. So I remember that I used that period to actually sit down with pen and paper in the kitchen. I would do my mixtures, write them down back to back, and then out came our recipe book. So most of the kitchen staff, I would say all our kitchen staff at Salt and Pepper have their recipe book, which has, down to the measurements, the texture, what the picture of whatever they're cooking is supposed to look like. In my head, I was thinking of, I would like to create something similar to a McDonald's French fries or chicken nuggets, or I would say KFC from the UK, specifically KFC from the UK, their crispy chicken. You can wake me up in my sleep and feed me a French fry from McDonald's or their chicken nuggets, and I would literally tell you, yes, that's McDonald's, or KFC's crispy chicken, and I'll tell you, yes, that's from KFC. And that's the kind of thing I wanted for Salt and Pepper, for our customers to be able to pick up our meals anywhere, whether the brand is on it, the brand name is on the box or not, and eat our food and be able to tell you that, no, that rice is from Salt and Pepper, or that chicken is from Salt and Pepper. So we spent a large part of COVID working on our recipes. Even though, yes, you always have tweaks, you always have to add tweaks here and there, just to make it better from time to time. But yes, our recipes. The other thing is reliable vendors. I went on a rampage looking for vendors that I could trust and were reliable. As a member of the Association of Food and Service Providers of Nigeria, some of the perks we have is we have access to amazing vendors who would give us the best quality products. And one example I like to give is my protein guy. I call him Mr. Latif. I've never met this guy in person, I've never seen. Yes, my team have seen his store and all that, but I have never met this guy, and I've been working with him. We've been working together for the past 4 years. I remember I was on the hunt looking for, this was 4 years ago, I was looking for 12 cartons of chicken, but I wanted a bargain. And my association just said, call this guy, he's your plug. And ever since the day I called him, I have never looked back. I've been loyal, and he has also been loyal to me. There was an event whereby he sent us some cartons of, I think either chicken or turkey. And from just the look, the appearance, something was off. The chicken looked extremely fat, first of all. Second of all, it had some black patches around it. I was like, what's going on here? So my griller took one of the pieces of chicken and obviously sampled it and saw that, there's there are issues here, this chicken it can't fly. As soon as we called Mr. Latif, in less than 2 hours, Mr. Latif sent his guys with new cartons of chicken, and obviously he took the old ones away. And over time, Christmas periods, birthdays, he would send me gifts, I would send him gifts, I send him messages, he sends me messages, we just check up on each other. So that's another way we've maintained good relationships with our vendors. One of our values at Salt and Pepper is building positive relationships along the way, and our vendors are definitely not excluded. Another thing is consistent training. I know that in the food space, a lot of times we focus on those that work in the kitchen. So they do their usual food and safety training, their hygiene training, and a lot of times people tend to neglect the customer care personnel, and I am on their neck. In fact, I am inside their neck. They hear my voice in their sleep, because I'm like, a customer would never, or most customers, I'm not saying not all customers, but most customers would not come to you if they're not happy with your customer service. So for us, customer service is a big thing, from the way they respond to phone calls, to how they respond to emails, how they respond to clients who order through social media. So consistent training is also another way we have tried to maintain our quality and our consistency. Okay, like I had mentioned before, I am very big on relationships. Like, everybody that knows me knows that I love building, positive relationships. But one thing I have learned as an entrepreneur is you can't always be nice, too nice, because it has beaten me not once or twice in the leg, and I'd had to learn the hard way. And I realized that those people, first of all, people in my team know that we work hard and I love to play. Like, we don't have the typical employer-employee type of relationship. When you see us playing, it's difficult to even know who is the employer and who are the employees. I see my team as a family. If you cannot work as a family or as a team member, you can't work with Salt and Pepper, first of all. But I realized that starting on in business, I would always be nice. I'll be nice to a point that is hurting me, but I'm still being nice, because I always had this weird feeling at the back of my head that, when you are nice, they'll be more productive, they will work better, they work faster. So did I realize that you cannot mix business and pleasure together, right? So I had to become, yes, I'm still nice, I still play, well, niceness is not even a fruit of the spirit, so I don't like to use that word nice, quote unquote, but I'm kind, but I'm still firm. And so I think being too nice, was one lesson I had to learn the hard way. So our Nigerian food and landscape, I would say, is really interesting. And I'll say it has been driven by a couple of things. I can say our evergreen population. I can also say urbanization. But a big one is, will I say, the demand for convenient food supply. That's the reason why businesses like Jumia, Chowdeck, and Glovo they are thriving through these changes. I would also say agriculture. Agriculture has grown, has made many strides over the past few years, but I would say we need more. I know not up until recently did we start making toothpicks in Nigeria. I knew a few years back, toothpicks, with the amount of trees that we have in Nigeria, we were still, importing toothpicks that we use at our different events, and even toothpicks that we use in our homes. So I'll say in terms of agriculture, we need more. And I look forward to a time where Salt and Pepper would be able to boldly say that every single item that we use in the kitchen is made in Nigeria. So that's something I look forward to. First of all, I think as a woman in this time and season, I'm very proud, because we have broken so many barriers and have entered different walks of life that we probably could not have entered, years ago. But in terms of challenges, I think as a woman, I would say that we are constantly trying to find alternatives to conquer the challenges that we face. I don't know if that makes sense. But I'll speak as a mother. For me, I consistently try to balance my time between a mother of two, trying to balance my work life, and also being a mother to two beautiful girls who need my attention at home. I remember, my younger daughter would literally say, "Oh, mommy, you didn't pick us from school this week. We haven't picked us from school in the past 2 weeks." And initially I would feel bad. But after a while, I had to learn to give myself grace. To know that I'm actually doing my best. I'm actually an intentional mom, and times when I can't make it, they're for good reasons. So the next step I did was to sit down with my two daughters, explain my business to them. In fact, when they're on holidays and they have some spare time, I make sure I bring them to the kitchen and make them do one or two things so that they see that mommy is actually working, mommy is not playing. Right? So I just learned to give myself grace. And another beautiful thing is having a good support system. My husband as well, trying to balance my time with being his wife and also work life. So for me, it's been basically the biggest challenge for me has been balancing my time. I also belong to so many other associations. I have so many other commitments. So it's basically just trying to balance my time. I don't really have 24 hours, but I find my way around most of those things. One piece of advice I wish I had before starting out, I would say to be content in my own journey and not compare my own reality to another person's or another woman's Instagram perfect life or social media perfect life, because nobody knows what goes on behind the scenes. You don't know how many years it had taken that person to get to where they are, So until I started being content in myself, becoming self-aware, did I start seeing positive changes in my personal life and in my business. So I think just being content and just working through my own individual journey is something I wish someone had told me before I started business. I would say, I say empowerment, if I can use that word, empowerment, because I believe at Salt and Pepper, we do not just empower women in terms of just being a cook or being a chef or being a customer care personnel. Salt and Pepper empowers her staff because I have predominantly female staff members or team members. I don't like calling them staff, team members. And I want them to see, they see through me that someday they can turn their own passions into a business. That's first of all. They can become employers of labor. Number two, they can become innovators. They can become leaders in their own rights and, command their own space in the food industry, or even if it's other industries that they choose to move on to in the future. Another thing we are really big on in Salt and Pepper is finance literacy. I typically say it again and again, and we typically have trainings around this, that no matter how big or how small your salary is, you can always save something for the future. Lastly, I would say those that know me know that I'm very big on relationships, and I always tell my team, finding the right partner is very key. So that's an area we talk about consistently in the kitchen, not just, I want to find this man, but you as a woman, what do you also have to offer in a relationship? Because relationship is not one-sided. Everybody brings their own 50-50. So yeah, I think that's it. Puff puff. Moi. Superman. Because he helps people. Love is blind. I think a machete, a machete, right? To cut wood, to kill wild animals if I had to. And, okay, what else? A fire starter, what do you call those lighters? Because you have to keep warm, to start a fire, and to chase away wild animals. And I'll probably say big pots so that I can cook. And if it rains and I need good water, I can put the pots under and let the rain, fill up the water with the pot. So those 3 items. Water. For work, for persons, water. Spicy. Between breakfast and dinner. Okay, dinner. The final table, I extremely love that show because, it's a compilation of different chefs all over the world competing to be, will I say, like the master chef. And they cook different meals from different countries week by week. So yes, the final table and also Top Chef. One dish, salt and pepper, one dish. Okay, I would say, okay, never ordered, so just starting out. Okay, I would say red jollof with our sweet chili turkey, sweet corn on the cob, and beer butter prawns. Yeah. Hi, my name is Olivia from Salt and Pepper, and this is Paul's Picks.